What is going on, YouTube? Joe here with Culination Media, and welcome back for another live Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire Wi-Fi battle against a subscriber/follower on Twitter. Today we are going up against Perry in an ANU battle, and we are going to be bringing the same team from the last two battles. This will be the last time that we're giving this team a go, so we'll have to see how it performs today. As for what we are running, we have our Calm Mind, Resto, Chesto, Unburden, Drifblim, physically defensive, Avalugg with a Rocky Helmet, of course. Avalugg's also going to be our spinner for the team. If we run into like Sticky Web or, spikes, toxic spikes, those types of things. Then we have Adamant, Choice Bandit, Sawk, Mixed Defenses, Lanturn, Quiver Dance. I keep thinking its name is Gardenia, but that's the nickname, Lilligant. And then last but not least, we have our Silk Scarf, Persian with Fake Out, Return, Taunt, and U-Turn. So that is pretty much the team at a glance here. My opponent is also bringing a Lanturn, which is actually a bit of a problem because I do not have not even one ground-type move on the team. It's also weak to grass, so Gardenia could potentially handle it if we can get a boost or two up. The problem that I'm seeing here is that Perry here also has a Bouffalante, which has Sap Sipper, so I can't just spam grass type attacks until I get rid of that, and I'm sure he's not going to let me just, KO it early on in the match. So I think what I want to do here is actually lead off with Sawk, because I don't have any hazards on this team. It's kind of a poorly constructed team. I just kind of threw it together. I just brought a bunch of Pokemon that I wanted to use, but Sawk can do a lot of damage to everything on my opponent's team, except for maybe that Rotom. And he's going to have limited switches into that because it doesn't have any reliable recovery. But outside of that, even Swoobat is going to take a lot of damage from banded close combats, even though it's a 4 times resisted move. It's probably going to do about 30% or so. Maybe even a little more, I don't know. Swoobat's pretty frail. So I'm just going to try to immediately punch a hole in my opponent's team. Most people don't think that Sawk is going to be a lead, too, so there's that. So my opponent's actually going to lead off with the Armaldo. I'm assuming to, try to get up some Stealth Rocks or something along those lines. So, if he sets up Stealth Rock, I can just kill this thing. So I think what I want to do here is just click Close Combat, because it'll do a relatively sizable chunk to anything on my opponent's team, bar the Rotom Fan if it's like defensive or something. So a knockoff is pretty tempting, just in case he does want to just hard switch here, but I think he's going to stay in and try to set up rocks. So I'm just going to go right for the close combat, and if he is like max speed, max attack, this might be an Oko. So we are going to go first, obviously go for the close combat, and that is just a straight up Oko. Armaldo, you are gone, and oh, he was carrying the Rocky Helmet too. Was that defensive Armaldo? If that was defensive Armaldo that just got Oko'd by close combat, that's ridiculous. Now, granted, Choice Banded Sawk is stupid powerful. It's one of the best wall breakers in the tier, in my opinion. But that's just ridiculous. So Armaldo's out of the way. That means that my opponent no longer has the ability to set up any type of hazards, I'm thinking, unless I'm derping a little bit on that, which I might be. Very possible. It would also be significant if I had hazards on my team at all, because that was his Rapid Spinner. Hazards would probably very much so help against quite a few of the members of his team. He's going to go into Rotom here. He pretty much has to. I guess he could go into Swoobat too, thinking that I'm locked into close combat. Most Sawks are choiced in some fashion. It's just, predicting around whether or not it's Scarf or Band is a bit dangerous. And there's also the chance that it could be running like Expert Belt or something. And that's even scarier because it can switch moves on you. So Rotom is here, and I don't want to stay in on this because he's most likely going to Willow me or Air Slash me or something along those lines. I don't think he's going to go for Volt Switch, just because the switch into Lanturn is relatively obvious, but I'm going to make it anyway, as he does go for the Will-O-Wisp, because, of course, even if I am going to switch in this Lanturn, even if he predicted that, there's the chance that I'm not running Heal Bell, because not all Lanturns do. Sometimes they run, it depends on the Lanturn too. If it's more offensive, it could have Surf over Scald, it could have like Hidden Power Grass, things like that. Ice Beam, you never know. If I had Ice Beam, that'd be very helpful here to be able to hit this thing super effectively, but that is not the case. This Rotom can't really do much to me because its stabs do absolutely nothing. Air Slash does not really scare me too much. He can't Volt Switch on me because of Volt Absorb. He's probably going to Hard Switch, as he does. And I'm just going for Heal Bell here to remove that burn because the residual damage is not really something that I want to deal with. I could very easily get burned again because he brought in his own Lanturn here. And there's not really too much I can do about that. This is going to be a stall fest right here. Neither one of us really has a switch in to a Scald. So it's just going to be who can burn who first. If he does not have Heal Bell, then I'll be golden and I can just kind of stall him out. But I really don't have anything. Looking at my team, I don't want to switch anything in on a Scald. I mean, I know I have Heal Bell for later, but I don't want to force myself to have to use that, especially if I need Lanturn later on for something. So I'm going to go for the Protect here to see what this Lanturn has for me. It actually has Icy Wind. That is the first time I've ever seen that on a Lanturn, and I have to say that is pretty darn cool. Pretty darn cool. Icy Wind Lanturn. I can see how that would be very useful. Especially if this is like a more offensive-oriented Lanturn. That is interesting. I've only ever seen Ice Beam on it. But I'm going to go for a Scald here because I really have nothing to lose by doing that. Basically what we're doing here is the game plan is to fish for a burn and scout this thing set to see if it has Heal Bell. If it doesn't, then I can just, you know, let the burn wear this thing down. Because the only way he's going to be able to wear me down is if he has Toxic or Scald, and he's still going for Icy Wind. I'm assuming he's predicting a switch there. But like I said, I really don't want to switch anything in on that. Now that I know that he has Icy Wind, even more so for me to not want to switch. So the plan here, just to spam Scald. And he does have Surf. Okay, so he doesn't even have Scald. So this means that I am very much so at an advantage in this matchup because he has no way to status me. I'm assuming he doesn't have Toxic because I feel like he would have gone for it by now. I don't really have any switch-ins to that. So, yeah. So he's got Scald. Or not Scald. He's got... That's the one move he doesn't have. He's got Surf and Icy Wind. He has Protect. So he has to have one other move. And he's got to have an Electric-type stab. So it's got to be like Volt Switch or Thunderbolt. One of those. And he can't go for that, obviously, with a Lanturn out on the field. So... yeah, we know this thing's entire set, which means it is definitely going to be relatively easy to just wear this thing down due to a burn. Now, what's not easy is actually trying to get the burn with Scald. I mean, it's a 30% chance, so yeah, he's going to go for Surf here. That's only doing... Wow, that actually did a little bit more. Okay, that was a critical hit, that's why. That is why. This is going to be such a stall fest, oh my goodness. I feel like this is going to be a long battle, but I don't know. I don't know. It depends on how long it takes for me to get a burn here. How many times have I used Scald so far? 3? I mean, that's kind of unfortunate because it is a 30% chance. Oh, 4 times. I've used it 4 times. Did he Protect on one of those? He may have. He probably did. Okay, so 3 times. He's going to go for Icy Wind again here. So... if this comes down to a PP war, it's not going to come down to a PP war. Scald has a 30% chance. Has a 30% chance. There's no way. So we'll go for Scald again. And unfortunately, he's still not going to be burned. This Lanturn is like extra resistant to burns. What can I say? What can I say? I'm thinking about fast forwarding through this part just because of how long it's taking already. It's already been a couple of minutes, like 3 or 4 minutes, of just scalding with Angla here. But I don't want to miss a good part of the battle. I don't really like fast-forwarding through Wi-Fi battles, or just through anything, really. I like full-speed content. I kind of think it's just more like if you don't want to watch that part of the battle, you can just fast-forward on the video itself instead of me fast-forwarding and potentially missing something. Because you never know, it could be like a random switch coming here, or we could get like a crit burn. I mean, a critical hit Scald would do like 10%, but still, Still, that's something interesting. He's taking quite a while to think about his move here. He might be thinking about potentially switching. But this type of situation is interesting because... why is it interesting? I just brain farted because I got distracted by that beautiful Icy Wind animation. It's an interesting situation because I didn't really want to switch because I was worried about a Scald burn, but he doesn't have Scald. But he also has Icy Wind, and I really don't want to switch anything out on that. Especially because my main way of dealing with this Lanturn is getting some residual damage on it, so I need to get this burn. And on my opponent's side, he doesn't switch out because I do have Scald. He does not want me to potentially get a burn on something else because he's got things like Bouffalant that, you know, does not really appreciate that. And his Rotom doesn't either. He's got limited switch-ins to that, so there's no reason for him to risk the switch into one of those Pokemon. So he's basically, even though he's kind of in a losing battle here, because eventually I will get a burn, even though I've used Scald 7 times so far and there's been no burn. He's protected at least 1 or 2 of those though, so that's a little bit inflated. But yeah, it's just a bit of a stalemate here, and I don't blame him in the slightest for staying in with this Lanturn because I'd probably do the same thing. He's just going to try to get off as much damage as he can, if he can get any, and, you know, sacrifice this Lanturn because it doesn't do a whole lot to the rest of my team to begin with. So there's really no reason. Really no reason. You might as well get a safe switch into something else and not, you know, put your chance at winning the match in jeopardy just because you want to not have things go on so long. That's a mistake I've made in the past too, because sometimes to win it's got to be a little bit stally and you have to be okay with that. If you try to cut corners and get around things, oftentimes you are, you know, putting yourself at risk unnecessarily. And so I commend my opponent for sticking with it, even though clearly this is going to be a losing battle for him. Not the entire battle, but of course just Lanturn on Lanturn because he doesn't have any passive damage for me. So still, we're in the same position. I feel like I've gone off on like 7.5 different tangents, and here we are, still trying to get the burn on this thing. We're down to 16 Scalds now, so I've used it 8 times. I think he's used Protect, what, twice? So that's 6 Scalds with no burn. That's pretty crazy. I think my record is 8 in a row with no burns. And that was during, I think it was during the, what session was that? It was the Showdown session where I had 8 or 9 in a row. I think it was 8. It may have been an OU session. You know what? I think it was the OU session where everybody thought that they were suspecting Giratina O, and I had a Reflect type Snarmy on my team, and I was trying to burn a Ferrothorn, and my opponent was complaining about hacks, and I thought that was really funny because he went like 8 turns or something without getting burnt. Or was it a Ferrothorn or was it a Slowbro? Maybe it was, I don't know. It was one of those two. I remember having trouble burning both of them. I don't remember which one turned out to be like 8 turns of it. But yeah, that was interesting. It's a shame that that was an April Fool's joke. I really feel like Giratina O could possibly fit in an OU. I think it's at least worth the test. Not saying that necessarily it should be allowed back in OU, but it doesn't hurt to test things because that's how you find out what works and what doesn't, I suppose. Down to 14 Scalds now. This is getting a bit ridiculous. If I run out of Scalds, I'm going to be super upset. I'm probably going to cry. On camera, on screen, whatever you want to call it. I will legitimately cry if I run out of Scalds trying to burn this Lanturn. This is unbelievable. He's going to go for Surf again, and that's not doing any damage. I should have said this about 10 minutes ago, but if you don't want to watch this, feel free to just, you know, go ahead and click forward in the video somewhere until there's not Lanturn on Lanturn action happening, because I can understand how this would be kind of boring. Not a lot of strategy going on. The strategy is out the window. It's just a matter of me trying to get this burn. That's really all there is to it. This is definitely going to be a long battle, unless we see a DC happening, and I will be a bit upset about that too. I'll be upset about a lot of things. Everything except for me getting a burn on this Lanturn is going to make me upset, basically. That's what kind of day it is right now. That is the kind of day that it is. So he's taking some time to think about his move. Again here, I don't know if he's really debating switching out as we avoid the Icy Wind, because Angla is super slippery like that. Come on. Come on. RNG Gods. Roman, cut me some slack here, my friend. What did Angla ever do to you? Why do you feel the need to punish this cute little fish? She's just so cute. I don't understand how you could want to smite her like this. Yeah, I don't want to switch. I don't want to switch. Now it's coming down to the fact where I probably could predict a protect and switch out to like Sock or something and then get a lot of damage off on something. But now I'm kind of curious as to whether or not I am actually going to be able to get a burn at all. And the fact that this thing has protect is also working against me, because if I just continually click Scald here, I'm only going to I can't talk. I'm only going to have about half as many Scalds as I actually have, because half of those will be, alternated turns of Protect. So I need to try to tread carefully here and predict my opponent's Protects by either going for Volt Switch, which this thing is immune to, or going for a Protect of my own to, get Lefty's recovery, I suppose. I mean, it's not like it's doing a lot of damage to me. Most of the damage that I've incurred here has been because of critical hits. But we're down to 10. I've used 14 Scalds. Are you kidding me? 14 Scalds. How many times has this thing used Protect? I don't know. I haven't been counting. So has it been like 4 times maybe? So let's just say 4 times. That's 10 Scalds and no burn. What in the world is happening right now? This is outrageous. This is legitimately the most outrageous thing I've seen in the last couple of weeks. That's not really a bold statement at all, but he's going to go for Icy Wind again here. It's going to lower my speed. Am I not at -6 yet? I feel like he's used it pretty close to that. I went for Volt Switch this time because I thought that my opponent would probably try to go for a Protect there. That was not the case. That was a wasted turn. I guess I can go for Scald this time, but now that I went for Volt Switch, he knows that I'm trying to get around Protect, so he's going to go for it this time. I guarantee it. So we just wasted a Scald. I should have clicked Protect. He's going to go for it. I know he is. Show me the Protect. There it is. I knew it. And I clicked Scald anyway. That is my own fault for not listening to my inner voices. Or my gut is what I should be saying, instead of talking about how I hear voices. And now I can go for Scald again. We'll be down to 8. This is outrageous. My goodness. There's the Surf. Not doing much. Was that a crit? No, it was not. That's just how much damage it's supposed to be doing. Come on. Still no burn. I think we might run out of Scalds. It's starting to look like that. And I kind of want it to happen just to say that I've seen it happen and that it's happened to me. Yeah. I don't even know what to say. I'm surprised that I've been able to babble on this long. Come on, don't Protect. Do not Protect. There you go. Go for Icy Wind. Get me down to minus like 5 or 6 or whatever I'm at now. I feel like he's used Icy Wind more than 6 times though. I don't know. I guess not. Can we get a burn? No, we cannot. Is this thing like Water Feel or something? Like seriously? Lanturn doesn't get Water Feel, right? Well, no, it's Volt Absorb, because I went for Volt Switch a few turns ago, and it was definitely Volt Absorb. There is no item that prevents burns. There's something that cures burns, but nothing that prevents burns, to my knowledge. So I'm not doing anything wrong here, except for maybe drawing this out longer than it needs to be. I'm going to predict a Protect here, and thankfully my opponent does go for it, so we can not waste a Scald. We can just go for Volt Switch. And it actually doesn't activate Volt Absorb. Not that it matters, because the lefties are going to get this thing back up to full health anyway. I mean, once we get the burn, we can alternate going for like Heal Bell and Protect and Scald and just whittle this thing down a little bit. Not necessarily completely stall it out, but at least get some damage going on it so that I can kill it with something else without having to take damage. So yeah, go for Scald again. We're down to 6 now. And, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. This is... I have no words. I have no words. I'm starting to get a little bit nervous, even though I said I wanted to run out of Scalds just to say that I've seen it happen. Oh. I'm about to lose some bananas. All of the bananas that I have are going to be lost. Come on. Come on. Let's see it. Let's see that burn. Angla, show me the burn. Come on. You know you want to. No. No, 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 no. Ugh. This is a bit frustrating. It's funny to me, but it's a bit frustrating at the same time. Alright, are you gonna go for Protect? I think you are. I'm gonna Volt Switch. I don't want to waste my Scalds here. I only have 5. I've got 5 left. I started with 24. I have 5. This is completely stupid. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We are approaching the 20-minute mark, and about 15 of those minutes have just been a Lanturn standoff. I apologize for those that have been watching this all the way through. Volt Switch there. Obviously, it's going to activate the Volt Absorb, and... now will you go for Protect? I'm so tempted to just click Volt Switch again. Or I could click Protect to get some lefties recovery going. Because I have a lot of Protects. I'm not going to use them all. I might as well go for it here. So we'll see. I guess my opponent's Protect will go first because that Lanturn is a lot faster since I'm at like -5 speed or whatever it is. This is crazy. I've never, ever seen anything like this before. Nothing even close. My previous record, like I said, was about 8. And I don't even know where we're at this point. If anyone has been counting how many Scalds I've actually connected on, because there's been some that have been blocked by Protect, obviously, so they don't really count. It's got to be getting close to... what? It's got to be around 15. It's got to be around 15, definitely. If not a little bit more than that. Jeez. Okay, we're going to go for Scald again. Oh my gosh, come on, Angla. You need to come through for us here. All I'm asking for is a burn. It's a 30% chance. What are the percentages? Like, what is the odds? Not what is the odds. What are the odds? I can't English. One day I will learn how to speak my native tongue. But what are the odds of going through so many Scalds and not getting a burn? 30% chance. That's just insane to me. Here we go. Firing off another Scald. Can we get it? Can we get it? Yes! Yes! Angla! Finally! Finally coming through after, what was that, 20 Scalds? Now, I still have to add that asterisk that some of them were, you know, blocked by Protect, but still, I started off with 24 Scalds. I now have 4. And that puts me at quite a disadvantage going forward in the rest of the match, too, because if I need to use Scald more than 4 times, I'm kind of screwed. Now we can start whittling this thing down, finally, and we're going to see this match move on a little bit. Move forward, at least. So, go for Scald again, just to get some damage going. I figured that my opponent would not go for Protect there, possibly predicting me to go for Protect. I don't know. The fact that this thing also has lefties means that it's going to take longer to whittle it down, but I really don't have a choice. I really don't have a choice. I don't want to take damage on other things. I don't have a lot of recovery. Outside of my Avalugg and Lanturn, my team is relatively frail. It doesn't have a lot of bulk, so I don't have things that can just switch in on attacks. And I'm not going to take damage for no reason. Because I am trying to win this battle. Just as my opponent is, and that's why he stayed in for this long. Seriously, kudos to you for staying in this entire time. Like, not DCing, not saying I have to go, or, you know, I can't handle this or anything. You're sticking with it, my friend, and I appreciate that. I applaud you for your persistence, and I applaud Angla for her perseverance, pushing through, finally getting that burn after a ridiculous amount of turns. I'll just go for Heal Bell here. My opponent is actually going to switch now, because I guess he wants to save the Lanturn. I don't know. He doesn't have any clerics on his team. So I'm not sure why the Rotom switch here, because I can just scald this too, but I don't have a lot of scalds left. I can't just continually scald it. I don't have 20 extra scalds to try to get a burn on this Rotom. Although Rotom would probably die before that anyway. Unless it has lefties, of course. But I am going to Volt Switch out now. I figured he wouldn't go right back into the Lanturn. So we take that Air Slash relatively nicely. And we get some damage off on the Rotom, and now we can get some momentum going. Finally, this battle is, you know, moving forward a little bit. We're going to start to see some action that isn't just Angla spamming Scald the entire time and trying to predict protects, which honestly is not that interesting. It really is not. Let's see here. What is my switch into this thing? I don't know yet if it's choice or not. No, actually, no, it can't be choice because it had Will-O-Wisp. Actually, that's not true. It could be choice because I run choice with Will-O-Wisp all the time. So I'm going to go in with Persian here. I think getting that fake out damage is going to be very important. If he is choiced, he is locked into Air Slash. So we'll see what he wants to do. He may switch out into his Lanturn here just because it doesn't have any use. But he saved it, so he's got to be saving it for something specific, and I don't know what it is. Trying to think what he would want to switch that in on. Maybe he's saving it to bait a grass-type attack later on from my Lilligant in an attempt to get a boost from Sap Sipper with Bouffalant. That's possible. I don't know if it was worth taking extra damage on Rotom just for that possibility. I'm sure he has something up his sleeve that he was thinking of there. I just don't know exactly what that was. So he's taking some time to think about his move here. And he is actually going to withdraw. So return, I guess, could have been a better play. But I didn't want to risk taking any extra damage on this Persian if I didn't have to. So he is going to switch out his Bouffalant here, which does not take very much from the fake out. I don't know if that tells me that this thing is max HP or not. It could be it could just have some HP investment, or it could just be that Bouffalant is relatively thick to begin with. Regardless, I have a very safe switch into my Childra, the Avalugg. That's exactly what I'm going to do here, as the Bouffalant is going to go for a Zen Headbutt that only does about 40 HP worth of damage, and we see the Rocky Helmet recoil there, so we get a little bit of extra passive damage going. I am going to go for an Earthquake here because I don't want him switching in his Lanturn for free on an Avalanche. So yeah, there is the Lanturn coming in. So I guess it was just being used as kind of a pivot still, because that was really the only way he could use it. And that actually did a lot of damage. That's definitely offensive Lanturn, because this is completely defensive Avalugg. That's a non-stab Earthquake. So that Lanturn definitely was more offensive oriented. I mean, we could have surmised that just because of its moveset. The fact that it had Surf over Scald, the fact that it had Icy Wind. The Protect kind of threw me off a little bit there. But, yeah, still, offensive Lanturn. That's pretty cool. So, regardless, or I guess it could have been specially defensive, too. I suppose it could have been specially defensive. But specially defensive usually would carry Scald. So, I don't know. Basically, what I'm telling you is that I have no idea what I'm talking about most of the time. So, we're approaching the 30-minute mark as far as the battle is concerned. We're getting there. We're at about 27 minutes or so. And this Avalugg is a problem for my opponent's team. I don't know exactly what he wants to do to counter it. He could go into like Swoobat here and Calm Mind or something, but I can just continually Avalanche him. Actually, if he goes into Swoobat, he could Heat Wave me. So that could be a problem. He actually is going to go right into the Swoobat. So I really don't want to take a Heat Wave. So I probably should switch, even though if he Calm Minds, I can get a lot of damage off with an Avalanche. Do I want to risk taking that? I don't think I do. I don't know if a Heat Wave unboosted will kill me. In fact, it probably won't. But I'm going to make a middle play here and go into my Lanturn, because I do have quite a bit of special defense investment. So I should be able to take any hit this thing wants to go for. If it wants to Calm Mind, that's fine. It is going to get up to +2 special defense and +2 special attack because of its simple ability, but I don't think it can kill me with anything. He probably only has stored power to hit me with. Sometimes they carry like Giga Drain, but it's usually relatively rare on these. They usually run like Substitute or Roost or some other kind of move. Something like that. Calm Mind, Stored Power, Heat Wave, and then Roost usually, or Substitute like I said. Giga Drain is usually pretty rare, and even still at +2 that's not going to kill me because Lanturn is, you know, super fat. Angla is just a problem. Angla is a huge problem for my opponent's team. Even though I have limited Scalds left and he knows this, I can still switch Angla in and out and, you know, protect and do all kinds of things, get momentum for my team with a slow Volt Switch. He actually has Energy Ball instead of Giga Drain, so he definitely doesn't have Roost. There's no reason to forego the Heat Wave because you need it to be able to hit Steel types. But that did a lot of damage. And we do get a Volt Switch off. That does solid damage here to this Swoobat. And I really don't have any switch-ins except for my Persian. Now, I think Swoobat actually has base 114 speed, if I am not mistaken. And Persian has 115. So, and I am Jolly max speed. I'm going to double check that right now, just to be sure. I mean, still Persian was my only switch here. But let's see, Swoobat, yeah, it is base 114. So I do outspeed it by 1 base point, which means I can just return it here. And there's really not much you can do about it. But yeah, Fake Out plus return is definitely going to be enough. He's actually going to withdraw. Okay, you don't want to take that damage, so he's going to go into his Rotom, actually, as I go for the Fake Out. So I guess he knows that I outspeed him. Didn't want to take that damage because it would have done a lot, because Swoobat is relatively frail. Alright. Let's see here. Let's see, how do I want to play this? We can probably just U-turn. I don't think he's Choice Scarf. I really don't. He's actually going to withdraw again, pulling the double switch, trying to get me to switch out, but I do have the U-turn. But still, that means I'm going to have to switch Lanturn back in, so that was a really good play on my opponent's part. That U-turn did a lot, wow. Wow, I wonder if Fake Out would have just killed it from there. That's interesting. Okay, looking at my team here, I have nothing that outspeeds it, except for Persian, and I have to switch Persian out, obviously. So my only real switch here is going to be my Lanturn. So Angla's going to have to come back in. And at least that means I get some free lefties recovery. Because I need to try to get myself to a point where I can live an unboosted Energy Ball. And I need probably 2 more turns of lefties to be able to do that, in all honesty. So I could protect here. Do I really want you getting up a free Calm Mind? No, I do not. I could be very, very cheeky and go back into Persian, but I feel like that's a bit of a risky play because Persian is going to help me later on. I'm going to protect here anyway and hope that he doesn't go for Calm Mind. Go for Energy Ball. You can kill me from there. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So he goes for the Energy Ball. He does not get up to, you know, +2/+2. We get more lefties recovery, which is great. That looks like I'm close to the range where I can live an Energy Ball, but not quite there. Or maybe just barely. I'm going to go for Volt Switch either way. And basically just sack Angla. But he actually is going to pull the switch here back out into his Rotom, not wanting to risk the damage roll, I'm guessing. Because if he loses the damage roll, he loses his Swoobat. So, fair enough. I can commend that play, as he's going to switch out his Rotom here to take that Volt Switch. Takes it relatively well and also shows off that he is, in fact, Citrus Berry. So we don't have to worry about it being choiced. So that is something, I suppose. But what do I want to go into here? I could go back out into Persian. I don't know if a Fake Out plus a return is going to be enough to kill this thing. Especially if it's like a physically defensive variant. I haven't really been able to figure out what exactly this thing is, other than Citrus Berry. It has Will-O-Wisp, it's got to have Volt Switch, it has Air Slash. I don't know what its last move is. It could be Pain Split. Could definitely be Pain Split. But because it was Citrus Berry and not Choice, I could just go for Fake Out and then U-turn out. I'm going to return, actually. I think he's going to... Oh, he's not going to switch. Okay, I thought he might predict a fake out and try to switch there, but instead he's just going to Will-O-Wisp me. So that is kind of not good. I should have gone for the fake out there, but I went for the fake out the last couple of times I had Persian out, and he switched all those times, so I thought maybe he would do it again, and that was not the case, so now I'm burned. And it's not the end of the world, because as long as he leaves this Rotom out, I get a free heal bell off with my Lanturn. It just means I have to burn a turn to do that. So I also want a U-turn because if this thing does want to go for Pain Split, Lanturn does not have a lot of HP remaining, so Pain Split won't do a whole lot for my opponent. So that is the goal there. We will see. We are about 35 minutes almost into this battle, and there are still no casualties on my side. I still have all 6 of my Pokemon somehow. Miraculously. I don't think it's going to stay that way for much longer. I really thought Lanturn was going to bite the dust there finally, but he ended up not wanting to risk what looked like it was going to be a damage roll. So Angla lives on. Angla lives on. And I should be able to take any hit this thing wants to go for, so if he does opt to stay in here, that would be the best possible thing for me. I mean, and if he does switch, I still get free lefties, and then I can always protect again to get more lefties. So yeah, we're keeping Angla alive. That is the way to do it. Angla is a beast. Like, Angla has to be the MVP of this battle. Like, I don't even care what happens the rest of the way. She just, I don't know, she just showed so much perseverance. So, we see the critical hit there on the burned non-stab U-turn. That's not very effective on this Rotom. So, yeah. Thankfully, this Rotom is staying in, which, like I said, is the best possible thing for me. It's just going for Air Slash, and I'm fine with that because that's not going to do very much. That does just about what Lefties does. Let's see here. Yeah, that did just a tad more than Lefty's recovery. But I'm still just going to go straight for the heal bell here, predicting him to want to switch and not necessarily sacrificing this Rotom. Because if he stays in, there's not really much he can do. He can't Volt Switch. I mean, the most he can do is Willow me, and I'm just going to heal bell that away. So, yeah, he's going to Hard Switch, save that Rotom for now, and go into his Swoobat again. So, if I protect again here, I'll definitely be within a range where Energy Ball will not kill. And in fact, I think I might be in that range anyway. I think it's still going to be a damage roll, and I think he's also going to predict me to want to protect this time and go for the Calm Mind, because then it's definitely a kill. So I'm going to go for Volt Switch here, predicting that. And he does go for the Calm Mind, which is perfect for me, because even at +2, I don't think you're taking a Volt Switch from Angla here. I don't see that happening. Swoobat is relatively frail, and by relatively frail, I mean it's pretty darn frail. It goes down to resisted hits pretty easily. So Swoobat is out of the way. Angla picking up a kill there. Oh my goodness. Angla is just too good. She is just too good. She can't get a burn to save her life, but she is good otherwise. So now I need to make a decision. I still don't know exactly what the spread on that Rotom is. It appeared to be more defensive-ish, but I'm not positive. I think either way, though, I'm still going to go into my Sawk. And the reason I'm debating about that is because Rotom does outspeed Sawk naturally. It has base 86. Sawk has base 85, and I am adamant. So, yeah, I would not outspeed it if it was running a lot of speed investment. But I don't think it is. I do not believe it is. I don't know if I want to risk that if he does go right out into the Rotom. But we'll see what happens here. We shall see what happens. My nose is starting to run now. I really need to blow my nose. Allergies are starting to hit me. With all the rain and everything, you have like pollen everywhere because it is springtime still. So you have, all the things being alive, which I'm allergic to, and the rain does not help. So yeah, allergies are a thing. So he's actually going to go out into his Magmortar. Now, if this is like a slower Assault Vest variant with Flame Charge, that would be cool. Or if he was like Choice Specs or Life Orb and Modest, which a lot of them are, I should be okay because I do naturally outspeed by a few points here. If he is timid, max speed, or scarf, though, I'm gonna die. And he does outspeed me and go for the psychic, so he's either timid and specs, or life orb. If we'll see that in a second here if he's life orb. No life orb. Okay, so he's either specs, timid, or scarf. Either one. I mean, those are relatively common sets for Mag Mortar. Anyway, pretty sure he's locked in, though, regardless. Pretty sure he is a choiced Mag Mortar. So I could go out into my Lanturn here and most likely force a switch. But if he specs, I think Psychic could possibly take me out from there. I'm not really sure. I don't want to take all that damage either. So I would rather force this thing out with a fake out, or at least force him to take all kinds of damage. And in fact, a fake out plus a return might be enough to take this thing out, because Mag Mortar's physical defense is not the greatest in the world. So I'm expecting him to want to switch out into maybe Bouffalant again. But again, we're getting more, chip damage off on that. And every time that Bouffalant is out on the field, I'm going to go straight into Avalugg because he can't touch it. The most he can do is like Stone Edge. And he went for Zen Headbutt last time, so I would have to say that because he's running that for like fighting types and poison types and such, that he probably doesn't have the Stone Edge. He probably has Mega Horn, Earthquake, Head Charge, Zen Headbutt, something like that. So he's going to go into his Rotom here as I go for the fake out, and he actually is going to survive that. This thing has to be defensive Rotom, or mostly defensive. Not saying I know exactly what his spread is, but has to be some kind of physically defensive variant. But I'm going to go for a U-turn here because that's going to be enough to take him out, and we can get Persian out of here safely. Geo, he's been putting in a lot of work in this battle as well. Putting in a lot of work. Quietly, because all I've been talking about is Angla. But we actually have an opportunity to go back into Angla, speak of the devil, and get some more free lefties recovery for that U-turn, which is great. And if he goes into the Mag Mortar here, I will protect. Get more lefties recovery, and then Scald or Volt Switch out. I cannot believe that Angla is still alive. Like, that's just crazy to me. We're actually going to see the Bouffalant come out here. And that's fine by me, because I'm going to have a safe switch into my Avalugg. But I'm going to protect here to see what this thing wants to lock itself into. I'm pretty sure this is choice too. Or actually, no, it could be Assault Vest. It could definitely be Assault Vest. Assault Vest or Choice Band would be my likely guesses for this. Although I have seen Scarf Bouffalant too. Haven't actually tried that. I probably should try it. But Bouffalant is just really slow. I would actually really like to try a double dance Bouffalant. It gets agility, right? I kind of want to check to see. I know it gets Swords Dance, but I don't know if it gets agility, because double dance would be pretty interesting. Let me see. I'm going to check that right now. Let's see. No, it doesn't get agility. Well, darn. It doesn't get any type of speed boosting move. It doesn't look like it does. Iron Head, Mega Horn, Poison Jab, Pursuit. That would be something interesting. It's not looking like there's any boosting moves. Okay, so you've got Swords Dance. So it could run a Swords Dance set, but no double dance. Alright. Well, it was just a thought. So he's actually going to switch out here and go back into his Magbrant, the Mag Mortar, as I went for the Protect. Fair enough. But I can still Protect again the following turn, and that is exactly what I'm going to do. That'll get Angla back up into the green. And we can also see what this thing is going to lock itself into. I would not be surprised if both of these remaining Pokemon are choiced, to be honest. Even though Assault Vest Bouffalant is pretty cool. Would not be surprised. Would not be surprised. So we definitely have an advantage here. But it looks like this battle is going to go just about 50 minutes or so. Maybe a little bit more, depending on what happens here. If we see like a comeback or something, we might see it go almost an hour. Who knows? Pretty exciting, though. Pretty exciting. So I guess he's debating, if he is choiced, what he wants to lock himself into, what is going to hit most of my team for, solid, at least neutral damage. The problem is even if he specs, I don't think that Psychic is going to be enough for Lanturn. I do not think so. That might not even be a 2-hit KO, especially because I can protect in between. And that's why this Lanturn set is just really annoying. Because if you Toxic it, it heal bells. If you burn it, it heal bells. And then it just protects all the time. To scout for your movesets, it scouts for choice users, it gets leftovers recovery. So even though it doesn't have reliable recovery, it just sticks around forever. So we went for Psychic there. Not Hidden Power Grass, which is what I was kind of expecting him to want to go for. So I'm going for Scald this time, as he's actually going to switch right back into his Bouffalant. So does he not have Hidden Power Grass, or he was expecting me to switch there? I'm not really sure. Not really sure about that switch right there. But unfortunately, we don't get the burn. I mean, it would have been great, but it's not the end of the world. But now that he switched this back in, I could protect again. I feel like that would be absolutely ridiculous if I did do that. What are you going to have for me? Are you just going to Earthquake me and kill me? I mean, I'm fine with Angla going down here, if that's what it comes down to. But I'm going to be absolutely ridiculous and just click Protect to see what you have. What do you have for me? Megahorn. Okay. My opponent is probably like, this guy is so annoying. Are you going to use all 16 of your Protects? Like, you're up 5-2 and you're using Protects. That's kind of ridiculous, but yeah, it is. It is kind of ridiculous. I probably shouldn't have done that, but I wanted to have Angla be at as much HP as possible to be able to take on that Mag Mortar, because I'm not about to get swept by a Mag Mortar right now. I've come this far. I'm going to play safe, and I apologize if it's kind of jerky of me to be clicking Protect so much. So he's going to go for a Megahorn here as I switch in my Avalugg, and he's going to take some more damage from the Rocky Helmet. And now I can just safely click Earthquake. That'll finish off this Bouffalant if he opts to stay in, unless, of course, he just attacks me and crits me or something and I die. That would be unfortunate. If that happens, I can just fake out. But Earthquake also hits Mag Mortar for super effective damage, so he's going to go for Megahorn here. He does not pull a critical hit. He will get hurt by the Rocky Helmet, and that will definitely put him into range where Earthquake will finish him off. So down goes the Bouffalant, and now we just have the Mag Mortar, and we're in a great position here. There's definitely no reason for me to do any more protecting shenanigans or anything like that. I feel like this is pretty solid position to be in. I'm not going to switch out my Avalugg either. There's really no reason for that. It's much better for me to get a safe switch into something. So we'll let him pick up the kill here on Childra, who didn't put in a lot of work in this battle compared to some of the other team members. And somehow we went almost 50 minutes. We did not see Driftblim even once. Not once did Driftblim see the light of day. That is actually pretty impressive. That is pretty impressive indeed. So I guess he's deciding what he wants to lock himself into here. He's actually going to choose Psychic. Fair enough, because that's probably his best option, to be honest, to hit my entire team. Yeah, everything gets hit neutrally by Psychic. If he went for HP Grass, if he had that, I could just switch in my Lilligant or my Driftblim. If he went for Thunderbolt, I obviously have my Lanturn for that. If he went for Fire Blast, I would go into my Lanturn anyway. Lanturn was such a huge problem for my opponent's team. I really did not expect it to be. That's not what I gathered at Team Preview, was that Angla was going to be an absolute beast. But yeah, I'm just going to click Psychic here. Or not click Psychic. My opponent is going to click Psychic. I'm going to click Scald. I wonder if that is Assault Vest and he just doesn't have HP Grass. I feel like that did not do very much. That did not do much at all. Like, that's not even a 2-hit KO from the range that I was at, and I was not at full HP. I'm going to use my last Scald here to finish off the battle. What a fitting way to end this battle. But to use the 24th and final Scald that I had available to me to finish off the Mag Mortar and finish off the battle here. Unless, of course, he gets a critical hit. So we'll have to see. Angla, are you going to go down to a crit here? No, you are not. So you're going to Scald this Mag Mortar, and that is going to do it, ladies and gents. 48 minutes. It's a 48-minute battle. About 20 of those 48 minutes was the Lanturn shenanigans. Well, was it 20 minutes? maybe more like 15 minutes. I don't know, something along those lines. It was crazy, that's what it was. So I want to thank you guys, for, especially for those of you that stuck around for the entire battle. Kudos to you. You guys are awesome. That definitely took some perseverance there to push through that. Kudos to my opponent as well for sticking around and being a good sport. And yeah, that was awesome. That was a marathon of a match. That was, you know, that was an endurance battle right there. So I am honored to be able to share that with you, and I don't have much else to say. Next time we'll be back with a different team and a different tier and all that stuff. So that's what we have to look forward to. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure you're leaving a like rating or a comment or whatever you would like to do, and I will see you all next time. And until then, game on.